Hi there, Arend here from Harcourts in Palmerston North. I'm here with Amy Randall from the Law Shop just to go over a few points and around buying houses and what you should know and how you should talk to a lawyer about what you're wanting to do. So thanks, Amy, for taking the time out.
Problem.
I know you're really busy. Lawyers are extremely busy at the moment, people. So at what point should someone get in contact with you about their legal representation?
So we'd always recommend that someone touches base when they're just starting to go out and look at properties. Get your legal team on board as soon as possible. So you can come in, have a chat with us, go over what you need to know about buying the property, do all your AML, get that all covered off. And also we always recommend that they send the agreement through for checking before they sign.
Yes.
So we have a set fee system, so we will check the agreements for free up to a stage that they have a signed contract in place. So
your services are free up to the point where people actually get the offer signed. So
yeah.
That's great, guys. Listen to that. Free service until you get that point signed. Now, this is a lawyer here stating that, so that's great. Use Amy. One of the other things too is what conditions should people put into a contract generally? Okay.
So generally you would have a finance condition, so that you can get the property approved and the finance level approved by the bank prior to going unconditional. We'd always recommend a builder's report, making sure the property is structurally sound. It's a big investment, so you need to make sure that everything is okay. And moisture reading is a big thing also with the builder's reports.
Particularly on those monolithic 1990 to 2004 sort of properties.
LIM reports, we would always recommend a LIM report because that's guaranteed by the council as accurate information and up-to-date information, and that'll cover off building permits, consents, flooding, any zoning issues or any resource consents going on around the property as well. So that's always a good thing. If it's an older property, sometimes you might need an insurance clause just to check that you can get insurance. Obviously there's things to do with plumbing and rewiring around the older properties that you may need to also get some specialist reports on. Maybe a meth test, not so common these days, but a lot of builders can do those tests for you, but just keeping an eye out on those types of things as well.
Yeah, that's right. So now saying all the things we should include into a contract, because the market is so busy and there's a lot of competition between buyers of trying to win that property effectively and trying to make their contract as clean as what we call clean contract, so it's not as many conditions. Is there any conditions that buyers should leave out or maybe even do some due diligence prior to putting an offer in or something like that?
Yeah. So it's doing your homework first, being clued up on the property you're buying. Title search, so if you're wanting to remove that, get in contact with us, we can have a look over that, have a look what's on there and remove that if possible. Finance, sometimes you can have that signed off by the bank. If they're happy with the property you're buying, sometimes you can remove that if you've got a pre-approval and they're happy with the property. Looking at potentially getting a builder through the property before you put your offer in, if you're wanting to tick that off. Council records as well. You can pop into the council, get those over the counter pretty quickly. Have a look through those, make sure that everything matches the property, so there's been no alterations done without any consents or permits.
So it's just trying to get all your ducks in a row as soon as you can, which sort of leads on towards your auction properties. So obviously buying by auction, it's cash unconditional anyway. Quite often when I'm doing an auction, we'll have a building report, council records ready for buyers. Most welcome to go get their own building report if they so desire. And I suppose the other good thing is they've got generally a 3-week campaign to get their due diligence done. So that's probably the difference between an auction property and anything else where offers are coming in quite quickly. So with an auction, they do have a bit of time span to do their due diligence up front. Is there anything in particular with an auction that the buyers should be talking to you about?
So we'd always recommend that the auction agreement is sent through to us so we can check that there has not been any warranties taken out or any clauses added. Also to check the title to make sure, because you're accepting the title at the time of the auction, so making sure we've double checked everything in there, made the clients aware of what's going on with that. And with the LIM report and the builder's report or the council records provided, by the agent, the client looking over those and then coming in to see us if they've got any questions or concerns about anything in those reports.
Yeah, so that sort of leads on to quite often the title search is always generally in there. What is it about a title search that's important for buyers? Is it a major with title searches, or I suppose it depends on each type of property?
Yeah, so with titles, you've got different kinds of titles. You've got your freehold, which is your standard, and then you've got cross-lease and also unit titles. So we see a lot of cross-lease properties, and that's making sure that the flats plans on the titles match what's actually there, because with those you're not allowed to change those from what's shown on the flats plan without a bit of legal work to change all that around. So if there's any easements, making sure the clients are aware of those and where they run, what they're liable for in those respects, maintenance wise, any land covenants, making sure they can comply with those going forward, and sometimes you might find some other encumbrances on there, so just double checking that's what's on there matches what the client believes is at the property.
Yeah, that's right. So there you can see, guys, there's a lot to do with titles depending on each property, so get that checked out by a lawyer. As we mentioned about getting all your ducks in a row and being organised, obviously one of the law changes that came in was the Antimoney Laundering Act that's come in recently. What do the buyers need to do for you to be able to represent them regarding that?
Okay, so we need to get AML on a client before we start acting. So it's to do with proof of address and proof of identity. So we now have an app called Apply that when the clients get in contact, we can send out a link to their cell phone.
Oh, that's really handy.
And they can complete that all from their cell phone, and then it sends it back to us, generally with a pass, unless an address hasn't matched up or something along those lines. So it makes it a lot simpler for clients to complete that process.
So that's really good, very handy and nice and quick and simple process. So there you go, guys, there's a little bit of purchasing a property and what you need to know. So if you want to know any more, do get in touch with Amy Randall at the Law Shop. I'm sure you're more than happy to answer any questions.
Definitely.
And just give her a call, make an appointment, come in and see her and get all your ducks in a row. So happy house hunting. Got any questions, get in touch with us. Thanks.